can I try to explain? 'Cause when I do, he turns away again. It's always been the same old story.
Hey, it's Nate with another piano tutorial. Today I'm doing Father and Son by Cat Stevens. What a beautiful, poignant song. Obviously the lyrics are really touching, but I think even without the words, it would still have that feeling. There's a lot of emotion just built into the chord progression and melody, which I think is a really cool thing about music. Anyway, I have a great piano accompaniment arrangement to teach you today. Let's jump in. All right, so first off, I recommend you get the chords and lyrics chart. You're going to find a link down in the description. That's going to help you follow along and see where the chords and the lyrics line up. And this song is in the key of G major, so all white keys except for the Fs are sharped. And here's middle C right there so you can get the octave. We'll start out with the intro. Here's the underlying chords, and once I show you how to decorate it, it's going to sound like this. So we have this G major chord. I'm gonna voice it like this. We've got a G and a D in the left hand, and a B and a G in the right hand. It seems a little deconstructed. This is a inversion on a G major chord. We're just leaving out the fifth, the D in the right hand, because the left hand has that covered. And then the one other chord we need here is G over C. Now, all we have to do is move both the first fingers, the thumbs, up one white key like that. So that G over C is going to be G, E, C, and G. And we're in 4/4 time, so every measure in the song gets 4 counts. So there are 4 counts in this measure, the first of which were on that G. Then the second count were on that G over C. And then those little dashes are beats 3 and 4. So the simplest way to play this intro would just be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and it goes around 4 times. This is the third time, and then you do it a 4th time. Now, if you really want it to sound like the song, we got to add a little bit more detail to it. The first thing is going to be, so you're going to do an extra hit on the G chord on count 2 of the measure. 1, 2, and I switched to my second finger here because we're gonna just immediately step up like that. 1, 2, E. Thinking in 16th notes now, dividing the beat into 4, thinking 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E. So it's the E after 2. It happens very quick, just kind of stepping up like that. 1 E and a 2 E. And I just hold the outside notes. 1 E and a 2 E and then we have C, G, C, A, and that's going to be on 3 E and a 4. So all together, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4, and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4. I'm using the sustain pedal here, just doing a quick lift when you get to the second chord. And on the 4th repetition, right before we go to the first verse, it doesn't do the melody notes, it just goes 3. It's not time, and then that would be the first verse starting. So let's do that first verse where the father is singing in the lower octave. I labeled the chords and lyrics chart with the verses based on whether it is the father or the son singing. Here's the chords for the first half of the verse. It's the same chord progression repeated twice. Starts out with a G major chord. Gonna do the same inversion shape as before, but I am gonna add the D since I'm only gonna do single bass notes in the left hand. So B, D, and G. I'm doing a low G here just with my 5th finger. Next, we've got this B minor 7. It's gonna look like that. So left hand's playing a B, right hand is playing an A, D, and an F sharp. This is an inversion on a D major chord here, but with the B bass note, it sounds like B minor 7. Then we're gonna come up to C major. So C there, G, C, and E. And then for the A minor 7, this is a very easy transition. Right hand stays the same. We're just gonna go to our 4th finger on A. And so, like I said, we're in 4/4 time. Each of these measures has 2 chords in them, so 2 counts each. And just right off the bat, I'm going to start hitting right hand quarter notes just to get a little rhythm going. So that would be G, 2, B minor 7, 4, C, 2, A minor 7, 4. Okay, almost done. Now we're moving to another G major chord, but I'm just going to do it root position here. Left hand is going to move to the third finger just because we're going to need to go lower in a second. And I'm just going to clasp my right hand down, G, B, D. So we got G, 2. Now our fifth finger is where it needs to be for E minor. So, and all that needs to change in the right hand is for the top note to come up to E, G, B, E. So that's one of the reasons why I went to the root position G there. It flows really nicely to this E minor. Then we've got regular A minor. So coming up to second finger here, and then A, C, E. And then finally D. And that is the same shape we did for the B minor 7 in the right hand, but this time just using a D bass note. And that is really nice for when it repeats back to the first G. We can just collapse our left hand up to get our fifth finger back on that. It's not time to make a change. Just relax, take it easy. You're still young, that's your fault. There's so much you have to know. Find a girl, so repeating back, settle down. If you want, you can marry. Look at me, I am old, but I'm happy. So I did this little decoration there that is a little guitar line on the recording, but it's really catchy, sounds good. So if you want to throw it in, this is the first time it happens, at the end of the first half of the first verse. But once it happens, it kind of happens every time, I think, just about going from the A minor to the D at the end of lines. And so you're going to hit the A minor on beat 1 and 2, but then the and after 2, so the eighth note between 2 and 3, gonna come up and hit E and G together before going to the D chord on beat 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. So I'm just gonna start throwing that in. Okay, now we have the second half of the verse. It looks like this. The first line here is really basically the same thing as what we had before, except for the B minor 7s are Ds. It sounds like on the recording, the acoustic guitar plays the same thing, but now the bass does a D bass note instead of the B minor 7. It's a nice little variation. So that's gonna be, I was once like you are now. Just has a slightly different emotional color than the B minor 7 did, and they make use of the variety throughout the song. I was once like you are now, and I know that it's not easy to become. Notice I'm starting to here add just a little bit more rhythm in the left hand on 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3. But take your time. Okay, last line here. Think a lot. D again. Why think of everything you got? For you will still be here tomorrow. Okay, so it's still the same until we hit this E minor, because then we have the 2 beats of E minor and then just 1 beat of D here. I wrote it out as a measure of 5/4 time. You could also just think of that D as just like a random measure of 1 count. But we've got G, 2, E minor, 2, D, and then it goes directly into the same thing we did in the intro, but for 2 measures. So really weird rhythmically, but it works really nicely with the words. You almost don't notice that the timing is so weird. So from that measure of 5/4 time, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2 E and a 3 E and a 4, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4. And of course with the words, that's for you will still be here tomorrow, but your dreams may not. All right, cool, let's keep going. Here are the chords for the second verse, where it is the sun speaking, and I am going to sing it up an octave higher. And it gets more intense and emotional here. And for this verse, I am going to use octaves in the left hand. If you can't make the stretch, don't worry about it. You could also do single bass notes an octave lower to get that power. So here, it is really similar to what we had before. We are going to do the B bass note for that chord.
How can I try to explain? 'Cause when I do, he turns away again. It's always been the same old story.
Okay, a couple things I want to mention there. For a lot of those offbeat extra left-hand rhythms, the 1, 2, and 3, 4, and I'm just using the top note of the octave with my thumb. I think that sounds pretty good. And it just so happens that at the end of this line, when we have before just had a regular A minor, it's an A minor 7 there. Might have just been incidental. I think A minor 7 or A minor sounds good in all those cases, and you could just pick whichever one you like more. But I'm gonna do the A minor 7 there, and I'm gonna hit the A minor 7 again for that little decoration. Now we go around on the chord progression and melody again, but this one is also gonna end with some weird timing stuff.
From the moment I could talk, I was ordered to listen. Now there's a way, and I know that
Okay, so all the same until there, and then we've got this measure where it's D for one count, and then G, 3, 4, and that's gonna be on
have to go away.
So a little bit weird there, but it follows the lyrics pretty well. And then one more weird measure here where it's only 3 counts, and we're gonna go D for 2 counts, that's the dash is the second D count, and then C for 1. And notice I am going to go to single bass notes here because we're kind of getting a little quieter as this verse wraps up. So D, 2, C, and then you land right into the. So let me play that from the middle line.
From the moment I could talk, I was ordered to listen. Now there's a way, and I know that I have to go away. I know I have to go.
And then this is coming into the instrumental verse, or there's a guitar solo happening. Here's the chords for that. Notice it looks just like the second verse did, but the B minor 7s are back to Ds this time. And for a solo piano accompaniment version, you can just play through this pretty high energy. I'm going to be using octaves. And I think just the chord progression on its own sounds good, but you can also decorate it a little bit, maybe do some arpeggios like on the A minor, on like some 16th notes, 1, 2, 3, E, and 4. And I am gonna spice it up with some more tricks, maybe some sus2 fills, some little melody notes. If you're interested in getting better at improvising those kind of flourishes on chord progressions, you might want to check out my course, Piano Chord Breakthroughs. I go in depth on building muscle memory for all these cool different tricks. So I'm going to throw a bunch of those in. You can get that course if you want to get better at that, or if you want to learn exactly what I do during the playthrough, just slow the video down and copy me. Okay, up next is verse 3. We are back to the father speaking. And after that energetic solo kind of takes a step back, I'm going to go back to single bass notes, and we've got, here's the chords for it. So it's just like the first half of the first verse, where it's just the same thing repeated twice, but we have Ds instead of B minor 7s, unlike that first verse. It's not time to make a change. Just sit down and take it slowly. You're still young, that's your fault. So yeah, it's just different words here. And then we come into the final sun verse. Here's the chords for that. So now we're back for the B minor 7s for the second chord in the sequences.
All the times that I've cried, keeping all the things I knew inside.
Also went back to the octaves as it gets more intense with the higher singing.
To ignore it. If they were right, I'd agree. But it's them, they know, not me now.
Okay, I put a little asterisk on that C because there's a really cool detail there where it's 1, 2. So the second beat on the C is staccato and then cut off. Just leave a little pure blank space there. But it's them, they know, not me. And then hit the A minor 7.
Now there's a way, and I know that I have to go away.
So just like we did in the third verse before, with the single D and then G, 3, 4. Then just like before, we have the measure of 3/4 time, moving again to single bass notes in the left hand to pull the energy back a little bit. D, 2, C, and then I'm gonna end on a G like that. And of course that's
I know I have to go.
Gonna let it ring out there, and then the song is over. Okay, thank you for sticking with me. I am now going to do a full playthrough so you can see how all these little details and parts fit together in the full song. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. Also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and click the bell so you know when I put out more videos just like this one. Okay, here's my version of Father and Son.
It's not time to make a change. Just relax, take it easy. You're still young, that's your fault. There's so much you have to know. Find a girl, settle down. If you want, you can marry. Look at me, I am old, but I'm happy. I was once like you are now, and I know that it's not easy to be calm when you found something going on. But take your time, think a lot. Why think of everything you've got? For you will still be here tomorrow, but your dreams may not. How can I try to explain? 'Cause when I do, he turns away again. It's always been the same old story. From the moment I could talk, I was ordered to listen. Now there's a way, and I know that I It's not time to make a change. Just sit down and take it slowly. You're still young, that's your fault. There's so much you have to go through. Find a girl, settle down. If you want, you can marry. Look at me, I am old, but I'm happy. All the times that I've cried, keeping all the things I knew inside it